As I said earlier in a previous video, I said this is a spray-based primer, but there is other ways of using it for those who haven't the luxury of a compressor or a spray gun, and it's quite handy really. Basically what we use is a roller, something to this one, a sponge type roller, rather than these hairy type ones. We don't use them, they're not good for that job. But how we can do this then is, if you look over, it's simple enough. Basically you just get yourself a small paint tray and one of the rollers with one of those sponge heads on it. So basically just make sure you're happy that you have the edge of the piece sanded. So what we do then is just basically fill the roller with some of this primer. Once you're happy you have some of the primer built into the roller, then you simply just roll it on. And as you'll see later on in the next video after this, I'll show you how to sand in between the coats and how to get the best possible finish using this method. So yeah, just making sure it's even. Then just on its edge, basically roll it on. Yeah, so now just as you can see here, this piece is completely dry approximately 10 minutes after applying the first coat. A lot quicker than some of the other sprays. So now I want to sand the edges and sand the face. So what we use is this Trimite 220 grit sandpaper. It's the best sandpaper for this job. It's better than the green or the brown sandpapers. It's kind of a flowery effect to it. And basically, yeah, so simple enough. Put your piece down on the flat. Now you just want to rub the edge. Now, it's perfectly fine to use this sandpaper on the edge, but if for people that have contours or concaves, it might be as well off to use one of these sanding sponges. Again, 220 grit. Just basically rubbing the edge. It's important to note that you use your fingers when sanding during coats, because you can feel any bumps or defects that are in it. You don't use a sanding block. That's the one thing different to not sanding a piece of MDF normally. You just make sure and use your hands, get them dirty, but you will feel if there's any indiscrepancies in it. Yeah, so I'm still not fully happy there. There's still a bit of a hairy edge, so just rub it again. And once you're happy with that, then just get a bit of paper or rag, just wipe off the dust. And once you're happy with that, then you just go back and you simply apply your next coat. Once you're happy enough with that, you go back to your edge. So that's your edge done. And that's your second coat. So now I'm going to show you how to spray the piece using an aerosol. This is the piece I added 2 coats of primer with using the roller. I've sanded it again with the Trimite sandpaper. Just a little trick of the trade. These are little nail boards. As you can see, this is a very well used nail board. Basically all I have is screws or nails driven up through there, and flatten the top of them. So then just leave down the piece just so that it doesn't stick in contact with anything. So now I'm just going to use some auto spray. I'm just going to apply liberally again. Same principle as spraying. Apply flat down. Because I'm spraying this on the flat, I can get away with putting on a fairly heavy coat. So yeah, that's my first finish coat applied. As you can see, it's not settling in too badly in on the edge. So I'll leave that there to dry and we'll finish it in another video. Okay, yeah, so here's the piece that I rolled the primer on with yesterday and sprayed it with the first coat of finish. Yesterday was quite a damp, moist day, similar to today, and I'm just going to highlight that this spray paint here is the paint I used, and as you can see here I have a brutal finish. The reason for this brutal finish is it's PC, which means it's pre-catalyzed, and as I stated earlier about pre-catalyzed, one of the disadvantages of using it, it reacts badly with moisture in the air. So when people see this, they might think, crikey, I might have to scrap the piece, but don't worry about it. If you cut it back, spray it again and leave the piece to dry in room type conditions with a good temperature of 15 degrees and above, it'll come right. So yeah, if you see this happening to your own piece, don't panic, it's not ruined, but as you can see here, the edge using that primer has sealed pretty well, so another coat should finish it nicely. So basically all I'm going to do is try and get this back right, is give it a light cut using one of these sanding sponges now, because I'm working on a finish coat. So just give it again, using your fingers to feel whether there's any imperfections. Yeah, so that's about the highlight of how much you'd have to sand it back. Feel it is nice and smooth. Once you're happy with that, then you can spray your piece. Again, applying same stuff again. Start on your edge. One coat on the edge, and then you can work on the rest of your piece. Again, holding the spray nozzle flat down towards the piece. I'm spraying in my shed here. I normally spray in a different shed, but the lighting isn't as good, so that's just for video purposes why I'm doing it in here. And also, my other shed is better insulated in my main workshop that I'm working in here at the minute. Yeah, so you can just do the coat at the edge. Now, to make sure, because as I said, I'm working in my big workshop and it's not as well insulated, I'm just going to use a heater on this. If you just want to have a quick look, that's the heater there. So now I know for a fact that that heater will dry that piece quickly, and I shouldn't have the same problem I had with the first one. Yeah, here's a quick picture of the final artifact. This has 2 rolled on primers and 2 sprayed on top coats. As you can see, even though the first top coat we applied bloomed, the finish turned out quite well. And it is something that you just need to be wary of, and to make sure that when you are applying your final coat that it is drying in a room with very low humidity and has good drying temperature. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching this video.